2017 meeting at 6 p.m. Call the roll, please.
Trustee Dildine.
Here.
Trustee Piney.
Here.
Trustee Kirschner.
Here. Let's stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag and the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I move to accept, with regrets, the retirement of Battalion Chief Dana Drew Pruden, effective October 8th, 2017.
Do I have a second? Second. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Dildine.
Yes.
Trustee Piney.
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner.
Yes.
I move to promote Fire Lieutenant Mark Ballinger to Battalion Chief, effective September 23rd, 2017, at the current pay rate and benefits according to the current bargaining contract.
Do I have a second? Second. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Dildine.
Yes.
Trustee Piney.
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner.
Yes.
I move to promote firefighter Howard Hahn to lieutenant effective September 23rd, 2017 at the current pay rate and benefits according to the bargaining contract.
You got a second? Second. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Dildine.
Yes.
Trustee Piney.
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner.
Yes. Okay, next please will be the board presentation, the swear-in. It'll be Chief Bates, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to ask Lieutenant Mark Ballinger and his wife Kathy to join me up here. Don't hurt him. You raise your right hand. I, Mark Ballinger, do solemnly swear and affirm that I will.
I, Mark Ballinger, do solemnly swear and affirm that I will
Support and uphold the Constitution and the laws of the United States.
support and uphold the laws of the Constitution of the United States,
Support and uphold the Constitution and the laws of the State of Ohio.
support and uphold the Constitution and the laws of the State of Ohio,
And faithfully and impartially discharge
and faithfully and impartially discharge
and perform all the duties incumbent on me
and perform all the duties incumbent upon me
as Battalion Chief for the Madison Township Fire Department.
as Battalion Chief for Madison Township Fire Department.
Lieutenant Ballinger, congratulations.
Okay, next on the agenda would be Chief Bates for Lieutenant Howard Hahn, please.
I'd like to ask firefighter Howard Hahn and his daughter Layla to come up here.
Right there,
please.
Now's our chance.
For me. Howard, would you stand again, please? I, Howard Hahn, do solemnly affirm that I will.
I, Howard Hahn, do solemnly affirm that I will
Support and uphold the Constitution and the laws of the United States.
support and uphold the Constitution and the laws of the United States,
Support and uphold the Constitution and the laws of the State of Ohio.
support and uphold the Constitution and the laws of the State of Ohio,
And faithfully and impartially discharge.
and faithfully and impartially discharge
And perform all the duties incumbent upon me
and perform all the duties incumbent upon me
as Lieutenant for the Madison Township Fire Department.
as Lieutenant for the Madison Township Fire Department.
Howard, congratulations.
Good job, Layla. Good job, sweetie. That's it. Thank you. Congratulations. Thanks. You, buddy. Thank you. There, buddy. You know that. Thank you. Next on the agenda,
Let me guess.
Chief Bates, 6 new firefighters.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to ask firefighters Danzig, Pennell, Rice, Haynes, Kevin Miller, Sean McGrath, to come up here with me, please. Did I get everybody? I got them all, okay.
Good guys there. Pretty spiffy.
Gentlemen, if you raise your right hands, please. I state your name. Do solemnly affirm that I will support and uphold the Constitution and the laws of the United States. Support and uphold the Constitution and the laws of the United States. Support and uphold the Constitution and the laws of the state of Ohio. Support and uphold the Constitution and the laws of the state of Ohio. And faithfully and impartially discharge. And perform all the duties incumbent upon me. As firefighter paramedic. For the Madison Township Fire Department. Congratulations, gentlemen.
You're welcome. Everybody's gone. You got it. You got it. There. Yeah, I know he's good. He's cool. Okay, the next presentation, please, will be Police Chief Brayton.
Thank you, Chairman. Captain Dean will be reading the...
Okay, quiet, please. Good evening. December of 2014, this police administration created a police directive for police awards. This directive provides a foundation to conduct that deserves award and recognition that all too often is overlooked in the course of a police officer's career. Upon review of the past noteworthy incidents and discussion of current incidents, to stay attention to detail for efficient policing and motivational performance levels, a case from 1995 alerted some attention. I'd like to read you specifically our award that we are giving tonight from our directive. The Chief of Police Award, awarded to any sworn officer or civilian employee for acts of service, performance, or achievements by the employee that the Chief of Police wants to recognize. This award is solely at the Chief of Police's discretion. It is not to be reviewed by the Awards Committee. It may also be presented in addition to any other award. This particular incident that is under review and awarded tonight falls under distinguished service. Awarded to any sworn officer who courageously performed an act in the line of duty at a significant risk of serious physical harm to himself or herself.
The act must have been performed under complicated or hazardous conditions during which the officer used excellent judgment in accomplishing a specific mission. I have a report in front of me, and I've read it numerous times, and I've written a summary of the incident that is very, very interesting. On April 26, 1995 at 11:30 p.m., a marked Madison Township police cruiser pulled into 5091 Sedalia Drive at the Stopwatch Pizza. Sergeant Gary McDonald exited his cruiser and approached the pizza shop and immediately noticed two males standing between the rear counter and the oven area with two employees. One of the suspect males was pointing a gun at the employee. Sergeant McDonald knew that no back door existed on the business. Both suspects looked upon the police cruiser and ran to the back of the pizza shop. He entered the business with his issued weapon drawn and gave verbal commands to the employees to run out of the shop behind him as he covered the back area. Once the employees ran to a safer area outside the store, he slowly backed out of the front door, all while advising communications by his portable radio of the situation. Sergeant McDonald took a position of cover at his cruiser and had a visual on both suspects that appeared to be searching for an escape. Verbal commands were given to both suspects to step outside and surrender. Both suspects exited the pizza shop and were on the front sidewalk and clearly refused to comply with police commands. The report reflects the hesitation that both suspects took. Sergeant McDonald yelled for both suspects to stop as they met at the front door and pointed a gun at Sergeant McDonald's head, attempting to resist arrest. One of the suspects broke away and jumped a 6-foot chain link fence. The other suspect still pointed his revolver at Sergeant McDonald's head and also broke away and started to jump the same fence. As he landed on the ground, he pointed the revolver at Sergeant McDonald and was ordered to drop the gun. The suspect did not comply, and Sergeant McDonald fired one shot from his duty pistol and again ordered the suspect to freeze. Sergeant McDonald heard the suspect yell back, "Please do not shoot again, I've been hit." The suspect jumped from the ground and ran eventually out of sight from Sergeant McDonald. Both suspects fled the scene. Evidence was collected from the scene to include the suspect's revolver handgun. Throughout the investigation, it was discovered that the suspects not only pointed a gun at Sergeant McDonald's head, but also tried to remove his duty handgun from his holster. Sergeant McDonald's courage of duty saved the lives of those employees on that night. The Chief Braden and I would like to award him with the Chief of Police Award for distinguished service. If you could step up here, Sergeant McDonald, we'd greatly appreciate it.
Next, please, will be gas aggregation update from Scott Belcasco.
Sir, if I can give you a little bit of information while they're getting set up. If you remember earlier in the year, Scott had come to us regarding the opportunity again for possible savings in the gas aggregation, and you allowed him to go ahead and collect RFPs on that. So the committee met last week and reviewed the information that Scott's going to share with you, and then has a recommendation which we'll give you after his presentation. I think they have everything you gave us.
To the -2017.
It's Howard down. Grandma, dad, sister. We're nice people. No, it's not good. Why do you take that from us? We already have. Oh, he was going to pass them out again. You already got it. This way. Yeah, I already got it. You're right. I got you. Oh my God.
All right, bring it inside for the play.
Thank you. Which one do you hit? This middle one?
Right hand one won't advance it.
Fantastic. Scott Belcastro here with Trey Bell to discuss the natural gas program. And one of the things that, as we've done here, we've generally gone through a citizens committee and then brought this proposal, what we have here tonight, to the board. A while back when we approved electric aggregation, we also simultaneously approved natural gas aggregation, and we've had the authority to do it for some time, or at least from the citizens. And I'll just kind of walk you through real quickly what's happened since then. And if you guys don't know me, if you've never heard me speak before, I'm the aggregation administrator consulting firm that helps guide the township through this process. And we go out to bid. We get bids from all the different suppliers. We bring these bids and present them to your township trustees as well as the citizens committee, and then make sure that we talk about here for you. You guys, anybody who has questions, feel free to ask. This thing, this is what the natural gas market, and I'm gonna. Is it okay if I walk away from this here as long as I yell out, or no? Is that all right?
You're fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So this is the price of natural gas in the market, and it's called the NYMEX, New York Mercantile Exchange. We can't really affect this. This is a market price, but I just want to show you guys. Last March of 2016, the price of gas was $1.71 per decatherm. So what I want you to take from that, though, that $1.71 is a 17-year low in the natural gas markets. That's a very, it's a historic event, long time that we've seen gas prices this low. And they use natural gas to create electricity, so it does have some effect on the price of electricity. So we had really low rates in electric during that period. We also had the cheapest gas we've ever had in 17 years. Go to 2017 in January, and that number, just so you guys, because it is blurry and small, is $3.90. So it more than doubled the cost from that previous spring. And so that has caused a lot of people to feel that pain in your bills. You were winning here, you were really happy, but then when it went to there, it was really bad, So we headed into January, and it was semi-cold, not real cold, but February got a little worse. But you can see from the graph here, since 2008, you've seen prices basically go down to a drop here of $1.71, spike back up in January, and come back down, and it's sitting at about $3.10 today, $2.90. So there you go. That's kind of the history on natural gas. Prior to that, everybody, natural gas actually went for 11 years straight up to 2008. So, we've kind of been very lucky as consumers to be on the downside right now. And you may not feel lucky, but we kind of are. Imagine if it gets worse, right? So we got bids from various suppliers, and we presented them. There were 3 bids in this case this time around that came from IGS, Volunteer, and Constellation Energy. And there's fixed rate pricing, there's guaranteed percent off this adder, and then there's also a concept of NYMEX plus adder. Your Columbia gas is determined by a thing called NYMEX, which you guys already saw, plus an adder, which is determined every year in February and takes effect in April. Well, we went over the different bids, and the projections out a few years from now, the forward markets and the supply of gas and the demand for gas, all these factors, I really see gas as being very flat to almost decreasing in price some more. Not a lot, but if it's $3 today, it might go down to $2.60. It recently popped up simply because of the hurricanes. I think that's a short-term issue to work itself out. But that's where we're at today. And I personally feel that we talked about the good, the bad of each proposal for fixed rate. If we think that rates are coming down, we don't want to be locked into a fixed rate. We want to ride it down, right? So we kind of said, let's just stay away from that right now. There's a adder discount off of NYMEX plus adder. The adder is what we can affect. There's a guaranteed 8% off of that we could have had. So next year when the rates are changed, no matter where it goes up or down, we get the 8% off. It's not a bad program on a 2-year program. However, what we ended up getting was Volunteer Energy, and they offered a NYMEX plus a 0.128. So if you want to know what that means on your bill, you take the 0.3 plus 0.128 to get 0.428. So if you're looking at your bill tonight when you go home, comparing what we did here today, you want to look at that 0.428 relative to what you got on your bill. If we lock that in, that adder, the 0.28, that gets us almost to a 12% discount, pretty much guaranteed through this winter. I can't predict winter. I've probably been coming here, what now, 5-6 years now? I've been saying the same thing for 5-6 years. Weatherman can't get it right from weekend to weekend, day to day. I don't know how I'm supposed to figure it out for this winter. Last winter, the almanac called for a really cold winter. Do any of you remember how warm it was in December? One of the warmest on record. Someone had a big miss, but they changed it and then claimed that they hit it perfect. I don't believe that. So, look, what I believe right now is we're going to take this 12%, almost 12% savings on the adder portion off of Columbia. That translates to a savings to you. And I think that was our recommendation to the committee. The committee agreed, and I think the committee has indeed. Susan, if you would validate that the committee did go ahead and say we would recommend to the board a volunteer 2-year program at the NYMEX plus 0.128. And for anybody who wants to do a comparison to Columbia's rate is 0.145 today. That's what theirs is, on the plus the $3. But the adder portion is all I'm talking about because that's all we can affect. Gas is the price of gas. Tonight I ask that the board consider the committee's approval. We would make a motion if you so choose to want to move forward with volunteer for the 2-year 0.128, and we're ready to move forward in time for like the December. If we move quickly, we can probably get the December flow going for residents. Worst case scenario, January 1. Okay? Questions from anybody? Board? Anyone who's on the committee?
The committee was comprised of many of our residents that have also served on the electric committee, and then a few new people. It was Jenny Baker, Debbie Miller. There was 2 representatives from Groveport Council. Canal did not send anyone, although they were invited. hang on, I have that. Sharon Brickler, represented Asbury Church, Guy Lakey, and Tim Bumgarner. We're all in attendance. There was 3 others that were invited, but they were not able to make it or didn't respond.
And is this one, this would be, so with electric, it had pockets because of South Central Power.
Yes.
With this is this everybody inside?
It would be.
For the most part.
Opt in or opt out?
It will be an automatic, they will automatically be included unless they opt out.
Right.
And it includes the majority of the township, well, it includes the majority of the township and the majority of the cities, both Canal Winchester and Groveport. Anyone that is not currently served with Columbia Gas would not be able to join because they do not have gas service.
So I just want to comment to the public here real quickly.
They just don't have gas.
Right.
I want to comment to the public here. This program works exactly like the electric does. If you are currently receiving your natural gas from Columbia, their default rate, we'll call it, you will be included automatically unless you opt out. You'll be given 21 days to review it. You'll probably be given another 7 days from the other letter. But you'll always have the option to leave anytime you like, no cost, all right? So there's no risk to you. All I can tell you is through next April, we're getting a guaranteed discount of 11.7% off of their adder, Columbia's adder. And then after that, Columbia establishes their rate, reestablishes it, and we take a look at where we're at then. There's no problem. You guys can always call me to get information. Trey Bell, our number is, I believe, listed on the township website. If you have questions about the program or how to get in or out, you can call me. But whatever supplier they choose, you can call them directly to get into the program. If you have already chosen your own supplier, you will not receive a letter for opting out. The reason is we don't take you out of your contract. You've made your decision. That's your decision. We don't do that. So just so you know, your rights are retained. We don't move you from anywhere that you've decided to be at. But if you're wanting to get out of your contract and come into the program, that is no problem. You can do that. I, as a consultant, will always tell you, call your existing supplier first to make sure that you don't have an early termination fee. I don't want to see you incur a fee just to get into this other program. It may not make sense to do that.
So what is the 2-year volunteer program? Are you locked in for the 2-year period of time once you opt in?
We would be contractually, as a township, going with volunteer for 2 years at the NYMEX plus .128. The .128 will not fluctuate for the next 2 years.
Yeah, I'm referring to the individual subscriber.
The individual subscriber can leave whenever they feel like.
Okay.
Absolutely. Completely their decision. Question here.
Yeah, I have a question about the Citizens Committee. What was the name of that committee? When was that started, and did they issue a report on this subject?
The committee was put together back when before me, when they dealt with Aqua Water and reviewed some information with Aqua Water. We have continued with that committee, inviting them the whole time that we've done the electric aggregation and now the gas. Some members of that committee have chosen not to participate when we've had the meetings, and then we've had some people that have moved out of the area. So we have always included, when it's appropriate, people from Canal Winchester and Groveport, and asked that the cities each send us their representatives. The other people, I reached out to Asbury Church to make sure that they had someone that was available, and we just kind of continued and added a couple people on as we've needed to.
Does the committee have a name?
Not an official name.
Did they issue a report on this subject?
They issued the same recommendation, which Scott shared.
A written report, or?
No, it's a verbal report. I have my notes in front of me.
We We basically went over the same information that we did here today, so just in a lot more detail.
I think it was originally the Blacklick Estates Community Advisory Committee.
That may be.
The
That may
CAC.
be.
And then once we did water, or electric,
I'm not sure they can hear you.
oh, sorry, I think it was originally called the Blacklick Estates Community Advisory. Can I finish? I think it was originally called the Blacklick Estates Community Advisory Committee when we were discussing water, and this was almost 8 years ago. And then when we did electric aggregation, we used the same committee and added folks from Groveport because of the electric aggregation, but nobody from Canal Winchester because it didn't matter. They weren't able to participate because they used South Central Power. So then this time, same committee with Blacklick Estates and Groveport, and then invited folks from Canal Winchester, but they opted not to participate.
Right.
So that's the history of that committee.
Do they have any written statement on how they decide their decisions or anything? Or
No, there's no bylaws or anything like that. It was just, I think, started with a group of concerned citizens that at the time said, I would be interested.
2008, Susan.
2008.
There you go.
Go ahead, Debbie.
I think also how people on budget, we can talk about how it affects the people on budget and the people that are on PIP.
Sure. So people who are on PIP, Percentage of Income Payment Plan, will remain on PIP. We don't pull you out. You've already got a plan that is a payment arrangement. So they would be excluded from the program. However, one of the benefits of running in the gas program, I don't know why the electric doesn't do this, but it is nice. On the natural gas program, if you want to do a budget billing, you simply are contacting Columbia Gas. Whereas in electric, you got to contact AEP and the supplier. This is more simple. It's just one, just call to your local utility and you're done. All right, so it's I think, an easier program to work with. Yep, no problem.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, so just as a side note, I've been kind of religiously talking to residents. Please go ahead and, there's a lot of door-to-door people knocking on your doors. You guys are well aware of that. Please take a moment before you sign documents that you're going to be feeling bad about later, and I guarantee you will. Make a few calls. You can call me. I'm always going to give you an honest, straight answer about it. And look at what we have here at the township, because it's very good. And I think it'd be sometimes difficult to compete against. A lot of your natural gas programs, forever have been telling people go with a fixed rate. And it's not a horrible idea, but for many, many years, if you're seeing a graph like that goes down for 8 years, what are they protecting you from in a down market, by getting you into a fixed rate? There's really no benefit to you at all. In fact, you're just getting charged more. So just, be smart, do some due diligence, and always have us as a resource to fall back on if you need us. Thank you.
Thank you. More questions out there? Yeah. Okay, next, please, is public input. Debbie Miller, please.
Thank you. Yesterday, I posted about our meeting being here and some things that I had been told and heard about the police department. And one of the trustees chose to call me a liar and say that everything I said was not true. So I'm going to start where this started. In July, right before the general meeting, a police officer contacted me and told me that charges were going to be brought, that there had been a formal complaint made against Captain Dean, Chief Braden, and you, Ed, and told me that there were lots of emails to back this up, and that this was going to be hitting the fan, and at the July meeting, there would probably be news reporters here with cameras and everything. That did not happen. So I figured he just didn't know what he was talking about, and maybe he was just trying to start trouble. The day before the parade, on a Sunday, I went to Dollar Tree to get some decorations for my car and some candy to hand out at the parade. John Kirshner walked in and was talking to me and then said, I think it's time we do away with our police department. And I said, what? And he said it again, and I said, I'm not ever going to be in favor of that. And he said, they're a bunch of clowns. Now, you can deny it all you want to, like you did all day yesterday, but that's what he said. And I said, I'm sorry, I wouldn't support that. So, on the 11th, 9/11, same police officer came to me and said that Groveport Council was talking about how they were going to take in our police department, and they were going to keep our policemen to patrol our area, and Groveport would continue controlling Groveport, but they would be under Groveport, and that most of the officers were really excited about this because Groveport pays $37,000 base pay, and I said, what do we pay? And he said $31,000. So that evening, I talked to John, as I do almost on a weekly basis. He calls me and gives me campaign advice and asks me what I'm doing and gives me some suggestions. And I asked him, I said, can I ask you a question? And he said, yeah. I said, why would Groveport be talking about taking over our police department when we haven't heard anything about that? And he said, oh, I don't know anybody would talk to him unless it was Ed. And I guess he would mean that because your son and daughter are on the council that he thought maybe you did it. And I said, well, why would we not know anything about this? And he said, well, because we haven't talked about it. He said, but when Victor was going to run for mayor, one of his first acts was going to be to do away with our police department. And I said, really? And he goes, yeah. And he said, and I'm all right with that. He said, we have no captain, which at that point I thought he meant that Captain Dean was already gone. And I know that at the special meeting you had decided to press charges, but I didn't know he was gone until he said that we have no captain. And he said, if something would happen where we have no chief, why replace him? I'm good with that. He said, who are we going to put in there? Mentally ill officers?
Who was that, Debbie?
John Kirshner.
Okay, go ahead. I just
So,
want to make it really clear.
So anyway, again, I wasn't supporting it. A few days after that, we were contacted. Actually, Reese was contacted, got a phone call from another employee of the township and said that, I'm sorry, Chief Braden had been investigated and that he had been offered a week without pay suspension that he had refused. So Reese called me and said, would you like to meet with him? So Reese and I met with him, so I did not hear this by myself, even though the phone calls and the dollar store conversation was by myself with John. Reese was there. And then he said that Chief Braden, and I don't know, Ken, if you did this, but he said you refused it and you told him they could buy you out. So I heard that you came back with a buyout offer to him that he also has rejected. I heard that he's got an attorney. I heard that Captain Dean has an attorney. John has denied all of this, and John on the page has said that he fully supports the police department and that he has been helping them and trying to build your department when, to me, twice he has said, do away with them. So I'm here to clear this up because he's actually stated, and I have all the comments, where they should not vote for me, that this is my own personal political agenda, which I have to tell you, if I sat down and I could give you, and I thought of all these places and dates and times and everything, I'm a damn genius. I'm a damn genius and my political campaign should be skyrocketing. I don't have the time to come up with a plan like this. These are actual facts, and I think you guys should know because he actually used your names and then called me a liar. So I'm asking the two trustees that will probably tell me the truth. Did these things happen? Are these actual facts?
Well, I believe I can speak for all of us. There's nothing we can say right now, Debbie, because there is an investigation, and we can't do it because of legal purposes. And I hope you understand that.
I do.
You know, it's...
I do, but,
we were told that.
But it is going on, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think that answered my question, and as for my political agenda, I don't think it's my political agenda. I think it was someone else's political agenda to get people to not vote for me and push their own personal favorite. Thank you.
Debbie, just a second, please. I guess maybe I'm, being the father sitting here, My son and daughter was talked about because of me?
No, he said, nothing, no one said anything to Groveport unless it was Ed.
I got you.
And I'm saying-
Okay, because I didn't want people
Like maybe
slamming
around,
him, because I hadn't talked to him.
maybe around a dinner table or something, that's what
Okay,
he said, unless it was
I just want to
Ed.
get that clear too, you know,
Yeah.
because I sure that wouldn't
No.
people be picking on kids.
No, I don't want him to either, but he just said,
I did.
unless it was Ed.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
No, thank you.
I just want to follow up to that with a couple things. You know, they say, tell the truth and you won't have to remember what you said. But I don't deny talking to Debbie, and I certainly wished I hadn't. And I don't deny saying that. And it's amazing that you come up here and say that I said everything you said is not true. That is how you think, and that is the problem. I have promoted growing the police department. I said, and we had a meet the candidate night over at the church, and candidates mentioned what I was talking about with Victor, which is no secret. It's decades old conversations about creating a police district or expanding our forces to include Canal, Winchester, and Groveport. And I even said to you directly that if we had more streamlined management, we could affect more boots on the ground, okay? What I'm saying you're lying about is trying to portray me as shutting down a police department,
Which is exactly what you said to me
Oh,
twice.
no, absolutely not. I don't even have to think about
And I'll
that.
tell you something else. You did not have that conversation with me. You know why? You're all confused because you're talking to all the other candidates trying to tell what's going on with your campaign. What are you doing? You said that Kathy, actually, when she didn't meet the candidates, since you brought it up.
We have candidates that were here
You
in the
said
room.
that when she brought up the open checkbook, that was your idea.
No, that was John Pritchard that brought that out. I'm not a
Oh,
candidate.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so
Whatever,
anyway.
but you said it was
are you
your
done?
idea.
Let me know when she's done, so I can speak. Are you done?
No, I'm done until you get done.
Let me know when she's done, so I can speak.
She is.
Okay, you're done. So,
I'll be done when I'm
the
done.
other thing is, you know, and again, I apologize to everyone here for communicating with you. I'm sorry, I won't do that again.
I'm
But
sure
what Victor mentioned is nothing new to us. It's about either a police district or combining forces, and that is decades old. There's nobody up here that has issues or wants anything bad to happen to our captain or our chief, and that's the other part that I feel that you're totally misrepresenting. We're responding to what we have to respond to, which came up internally. Nobody's looking to undo or shut down. That's the part that I say is a lie. Shutting down, that's inciting panic for no good reason. And I also mentioned that this isn't like you go out to lunch and just, you sit down with the mayor of two cities and all of a sudden you have a new police force. That takes an incredible amount of time. If we didn't have a chief, we would have to replace a chief. I said that. I remember saying that. So I'm done. The thing that you say I said everything you said is a lie, no. What I am saying is you're misrepresenting the facts. You're twisting it. You're creating panic. You've got a gentleman in the back of the room that's standing right there that you put on Facebook doesn't work for us. That's the part that I wanted you to redact and correct and I thought was hurtful. And then you talk about wanting communication between the trustees and the BLECT page and it not being drama-free zone. Mm-hmm. That's the part where I say false.
Okay,
and
so
I'm done.
I don't care if
We're all done.
I don't care if you were done, John. I am telling you what you said to me. You said our police department were a bunch of clowns. Captain Dean, I do apologize for saying they got rid of you because when he said we don't have a captain and if something happens to our chief, we might as well do away with our police department because who are we going to put in there? Mentally ill officers? Are you saying that you did not say that? You are saying up there that you didn't say that.
I did not even listen to what you said.
Well, then I declare you the liar, John.
Oh, my goodness. Thanks, Debbie. That's great.
Can I ask a quick question real quick?
Go ahead, just real quick if you would, please.
I just want to ask one question. When Mr. Payne was running for mayor of Canal, if you became mayor of Canal, how would you have got rid of the Madison Township Police Department?
Well, Mr. Piney doesn't have anything.
Or Mr. Piney?
Mr. Piney doesn't have anything to say about it. It's what John said Mr. Piney was going to do.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if he would have been mayor of Canal, how could you have got rid of the Madison Township Police
He's
Department?
probably completely innocent.
This is where,
John using names.
This is where you have to be able to interpret what a person says. The difference between creating a police district or combining management strength has nothing to do with shutting down or dissolving a police department, and that's the terms that were used on the Facebook page, and that is what I reference as a lie.
Twice in the Dollar Tree store and now...
Dissolve, shut down. No, I don't even have to think about that, because I know the difference.
7:58.
Right. That's great, that's great.
Go ahead.
Reporter, did you say there's an investigation going on?
Yes.
Can we move on?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we can, ma'am.
Just to answer your question, sorry.
And we'll move on.
Since you asked me directly, the city of Canal Winchester contracts their sheriff service through Fairfield County.
Okay.
And I think I've been pretty clear over the last 8 years that I'd like to see us have a township-wide police department. And that would have been something I would have been interested in discussing more if I were elected mayor. Unfortunately, I had to withdraw for outside reasons, but I think that's what everybody's referring to.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of swirl that probably doesn't really need to be there. It would have been, I think, a good move for the township.
Right.
But it wouldn't be replacing this department. It would be creating a
or shutting it
township-wide.
down. Thank you.
Is that okay, Wayne? Okay, no, my pleasure, Beth. Okay, next on the agenda, please, will be Robert Kramer, please. Up here at the podium, please.
Thank you.
Hi, hope you're all doing well this evening. My name is Robert Kramer, and I'm actually running for Obet's Village Council this fall.
You haven't changed your mind in the last 10 minutes?
It was an interesting back and forth, and made me grateful that ours are not quite as exciting over in Obet's. So, if I saw that every day at Obet's, maybe I would reconsider. But anyway, I've lived in Obet's now for 11 years. I've been on the Planning and Zoning Commission for the past 2 years, and I've gone to virtually all the council meetings during that time frame as well, just trying to keep up with everything and learn about it, and it's been a great learning experience. And just to see what all Obet's has done with like the Parks and Rec, the stadium, all the economic development they've had, and that's certainly something that I would, want to continue on with that growth. They've done a wonderful job, and I've gotten to play a small part in it, but I just like to try and play a bigger part. But even at 11 years, I still feel sometimes like I'm the new person in the area, and I thought it'd be best to get out and talk to everyone in the community, and then also do what I can to reach out even to like the townships, with Madison Township, Hamilton Township, our two townships that Obet's is in. So I do have flyers for myself that I can give you one if you'd like. I don't know how appropriate that is, but certainly it's got just a little more information about myself. And one of the things I do kind of point out is I would like to hopefully see more cooperation with Hamilton and Madison Townships. Oftentimes we don't even know. And I live on the Hamilton Township side, but of course, maybe a quarter to a third of Obet's lies in Madison Township of our residents, and it would be nice to have be able to have a better communication line between us to try and make sure we know about different events that are going on with each other. Maybe even that's sending some.
Could you help us fix our road there at Swisher, Toy, and all that in there?
Well, and also if you have, I was getting to, and whatever suggestions you may have, I'd be happy to write down. Of course, I'm not in any position of power quite yet,
right,
but I can always bring it up. I go to all the meetings, and they're always very receptive toward things. And I've gone to see a few hundred residents so far, and I've got a laundry list so far. So I would certainly add a few more to that to bring up to the mayor and our village administrator. So anyway, that was actually the next thing I was going to say was if you had anything else, it just seems like there's a lot of opportunity to try and work together. At the very least, just be informed of each other's events, and also with us in Hamilton to try and be aware of that. I don't know quite as much about Madison. I do live on the Hamilton side, like the majority of Obet's, but I certainly wanted to reach out to both sides. I mean, I go to church over here in the Madison Township area, and we.
Did you notice the guy we promoted tonight? He's a trustee at Township.
I did. As soon as I heard the name, I have not met him yet, but I recognize the name.
Dad, grandfather, everybody's been there, so.
That's why the name is pretty legendary around the area. It makes my ears perk up as soon as I hear it, because I know they've done a lot for the area.
Yes, they have.
So I will be going over to the Hamilton Township meeting next week. I'm sure I'll get to meet him then. So I guess I want to thank you guys very much for your time.
You're welcome.
And listening to me, and if you have any questions for me?
No, just with your flyers, you can put them back there on the table where our other literature is, and if somebody wants one, they can take it. That way it's not forced on somebody.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll just, I've never done this before. This is the first time I've ever run for anything, so I don't know what's allowed and what's not allowed usually, and it's something always good to ask. I'm just glad I got certified correctly and didn't mess that up. So it seems like it's really easy to do. Yeah, one missed date and you're done. So, all right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay,
I
and
appreciate
thank
your
you,
time.
sir.
Good luck to you.
Yes,
Thank you.
good luck. Okay, the old business?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Just want to swing back around on the gas aggregation and also let you know, in addition to all the information that Scott gave you, one of the other recommendations from the committee was wondering if we could do a separate postcard with the aggregation information on it, specifically to help people understand when all of these other solicitors do come knocking in the next 30 days, because that's when the majority of them are going to be around, now that they are aware that the township is getting ready to potentially lock into a contract. They're trying to get them to commit to them first. So we had budgeted for 4 postcards to be mailed. One of them we were hoping would be able to be mailed to include both of the cities. At this point, that didn't work out. We were not able to do all 3 up until this point. We've only done 2. So we do still have money in the budget if that is something that the board would be interested in, having us commit a postcard to the aggregation, gas aggregation information. Right, we could put something together with Scott and still remain within our budget.
Scott will help us with the price?
I'm sorry?
Will Scott help us with the price?
Oh, I'm sure he will.
Okay. Make sure.
Cover it.
Makes sense.
Scott's very generous, I will say, especially with our Santa parade and that.
I know. That's
Yeah,
what
so
I
we want to give Scott credit for that. He's a great participant and hands a lot of things out to the kids.
Yeah, I do want to make a comment. If we could get, I'm just throwing this out there, if we can get an electric blurb and a natural gas blurb, we're going to, you've seen our energy bulletin that we like to send to folks. If it comes through your newsletter instead, we'd be glad to donate some of the money that we would have used to send the energy bulletin out instead.
Well, we'd be silly not to take it.
Well, we can see what we can
Get with Susan and see
do.
what that would be, I do.
Yeah, no worries, we'll work that out.
Okay, thank you.
So the mailer you're talking about would be going to everybody in the town?
Well, Scott and I need to work this out, but it would go to everyone that has the Columbia Gas service. It may, because of the way the mailing zones are broken out, it may actually end up going to a few areas like the south that don't really have that service. We would probably, we'll have to look at the map and see how it breaks down for the zones area to be mailed to, and we may have to put a little disclaimer on there that says, we understand not everyone receiving this may have Columbia Gas service or the AEP service if we're going to do it one on each side. But yes, so that way the people, no matter whether they're getting the local paper or not, would know what's going on.
So is there an opportunity within Groveport and Canal? Do they have their own mailings? Do they have their own newsletters that we could tag onto?
They do not have their own newsletter other than what goes out through their website, similar to what we do, where you have to sign up for it.
Okay.
I could certainly,
Water bill.
I was going to say, they would have the water, well, both of them would have the water bill, but I don't know that it has, I don't know that it has enough room on it, though, to, kind of.
And it's not every month.
To and explain.
Yeah, Canal, we just got our water bill in Canal, so you won't see that again, we won't see it again until like November, and I don't know what that does for.
Right, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll work something out, sounds like it. Sounds like Scott's going to work with us.
And then, if I can ask, if you're satisfied with the recommendation from the committee on the suggested components of the contract, we can go ahead and fill in the resolution so that it'll be ready for later.
I have 24-month with volunteer beginning 12/1/2017. Is that, Scott, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, we'll make sure.
24 volunteer, 12/1/17.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Next, please.
Just wanted to circle back around on the trick or treat. We had talked about the date of October 31st, which is a Tuesday. That is the recommended date through Morpsey and the majority of the other neighborhoods in central Ohio. We were a little uncertain at the time of what our times had been in the past. I did go back and look at that, and I talked to Chief, and it would be 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay.
That has already been shared with Morpsey. They are preparing their website to get everything updated in that. So that, I just wanted to give you the official time.
Okay. Any questions? All right.
9/11?
You.
Just wanted to follow up with the trustees and thank Chief Bates, Chief Braden, and their departments, and those that participated specifically with the ceremony down at Mott's Military Museum. I don't know if anybody else has comments, but it was a very nice ceremony. As I've shared with them, I always invite not only the other entities around us, but also some of our associations and other elected officials that we have dealings with. And generally, we get pretty good participation. Everyone is always very appreciative for being included in the invitation, and also very appreciative of the job that they do with the ceremony. It's a very, very nice ceremony, and they comment on it each and every year and are glad to be invited back to it.
Yeah, just to add on that, you guys did a great job, and always appreciate the partnership with Groveport and the other entities that participate, but it was, once again, very well done.
And you've done a nice job, Victor, and thank you. Okay, Susan, yeah.
The next item is following our special meeting on September 7th, in which the board decided that they did want to purchase the Durapatch machine from Knox County that was still available. We went back and forth a little bit on financing versus paying for it outright, and at the time, we were not comfortable with recommending that it be purchased outright. So we did do a resolution that allowed us to finance it for 3 years. However, following that meeting, I received an email and a comment from the board members asking if we couldn't drill down a little bit farther, that if it was a possibility, what preference would be to discuss it again and see if we couldn't purchase the machine outright. So Superintendent Watkins and Fiscal Officer Vermeer and myself individually sat down and looked at the 4 funds that make up the Public Works budget, and then we sat down together and went through everything. And I'll turn it over to Superintendent Watkins and Fiscal Officer Vermeer. They can share information, but the bottom line is we do feel that we could do an outright purchase and still have the carryover that the board has requested, the 25% that would be there, and barring any huge unforeseens, be able to finish out the rest of the year. So I'll let him explain details and
after talking to Lori, we decided we could take part of the funds out of the equipment budget. But actually, out of that $25,000, what we originally thought that was there for the truck, actually I think $10,000 that went to the material budget after they decided that we didn't have to make the payment this year. Okay. So we're taking part of the money out of the equipment budget, and then we're taking money out of the contract budgets that we would only use like $7,000 for, which was for the street sweeping. So we was able to take $10,000 out of that, and we'll use $7,000 out of the equipment budget.
So tell me about the street sweeper and the $7,000. Are we giving something up? I'm not following
We budgeted $20,000 for contracts.
And we're only
Performing as any other.
And we're not giving anything up, that's just the way it works.
No,
It's
just.
going to sit there in that fund.
Well, and if I can back up a little bit, the $10,000 was budgeted for contracts originally.
Okay.
And then we had put in another $10,000 towards issue 2 funding from the previous year.
Okay.
We did not have the opportunity to get an issue 2 project, so therefore we didn't need the 10,000 in the issue 2 contract portion. So we were able to move that money to create that $20,000 in just the regular contracts.
Excellent.
So you're saying we're not going to be broke in the road department if we pay for this?
Well, we're going to be tight.
Yeah, and that's what we discussed. I mean, that's what we discussed last time.
Yeah.
We discussed it on the
I
other.
understand where I stand at, and I know what I can do.
Okay, I want to make
Just hopefully it doesn't snow very much until after the first.
And not financing it saves us another $1,500, roughly, something like that.
Yeah, if you looked at it, it's really about $1,000, but, okay, but.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So does this require, this leads us to a new resolution?
Right, what we will do, which Superintendent Watkins would touch on under his department, but what we'll do is we will have to resend the financing of the Durapatcher. Everything else then will be in place and we can go ahead.
So you don't need a different resolution for the purchase?
I'm sorry?
Do you need a different resolution for the purchase?
No, we authorized.
Just receipt?
We authorized the purchase last time.
Yeah.
And they still have it?
Yes, they will.
They still have it.
Bear with us.
They still have it, okay, I got you. Okay, thanks, Dave, thanks, Susan. Lori? Next, Susan?
Chief Braden on the
Braden?
speed trailer report, yes.
Yeah, I believe you have that in front of you. It's been pretty busy at different locations, and it just keeps growing. Mrs. Lyles on Toy Road has showed an interest again on a lot of high traffic there. We've had it out there the last couple of days. I think just today, there was over 500 and something cars just the 6 hours that it was there, so. So, yeah, and that was already past the rush hour, so we didn't catch the ones that, people going to the warehouses that were getting there earlier.
Where'd that guy go from Mobets? Who's gonna get him? Since he was out there with all that trailer, with all that traffic and stuff out there. Okay.
For the next.
Please.
We had a resident, I believe it was at the last meeting, share concerns about the school buses speeding, specifically on Harbor. Just wanted to make sure, we've shared this with the board, but I wanted to make sure that the public was aware. We did share that information with the school district, and then followed back up on it after we got an additional email from the residents that were here, giving us some more information. I followed back up even after that conversation, shared information with the board, and got another update actually today from the school district. So the Peterman does have the ability to track the buses, their location, their speed, and the time of day. They did go back after they received this complaint and looked at all of their buses. What I'm told is the buses are actually tracked on a daily basis. Someone is monitoring that, both from Peterman and also through a portion of the day, at least through the central office. What they found when they looked at the overall, based on the end of August timeframe, is that there was one bus that was traveling outside of the acceptable speed limit, and that actually was on No Bixby Road, not on Harbor, which was the initial complaint. Do you have more?
Bixby. I believe.
Oh, no, Bixby is what they told me today.
Oh, maybe it was another one.
Okay. And they are, that driver they're dealing with that, their due process and everything. So they wanted to make sure that the board was aware, and I believe that they did have a follow-up conversation with Trustee Kirshner, that they definitely want to hear about issues, but they do track that on a daily basis when the buses are running. So there should be someone there that, sees that, flags it, and then they deal with that immediately. However, if we hear of concerns or have concerns, they certainly would like to hear from us.
Ask something. I don't understand how they can track that when they have had my children lost on Tussing Road in a bus when my kids lived in Blackwood Estates. They've had numerous times my kids have been lost on the bus, and they can't track them buses. I don't believe a word of that when they told me. I don't either.
Well, I can only.
Myself speed down Fullerton all morning long.
I can only report what they reported to us, and they provided a data. Right.
Catching them, we wouldn't have that problem.
Okay, gotcha. One of the citizens that were very helpful here, and that one of the buses that was reported was tracked at a very high rate of speed, way over the speed limit. So that showed that. All I was seeing was data from 55 mile an hour over. And so I questioned, what happens on Harbor, what happens and what they explained was that they had, and they showed me this, they had
GPS.
the addresses tagged, and I can't tell you, how perfect that is, but they have the streets tagged with the speed limit, and if you exceed, I believe they said by 5 mile an hour, that automatically flags back to them. So that's what we're being told, because my initial reaction was, great, you've got somebody doing about 64 and a 35, they went over 55, but what happens under 55? Their claim is that there's an automatic flag sent out if you exceed, I believe it was, a sub percentage, but I believe it was roughly 5 mile an hour over 25. So if you're doing 31 or more, I think they said they would automatically get that shot. Now, that's what's being reported to us, okay? So,
Susan, could you request that they attend our next meeting and give us, our residents, an overview of how they track it?
Absolutely.
And perhaps somebody from either the school board or the school district?
Peter,
Right. But the school board, I think, should hear from Peterman with us all present that we think there's a problem. So that's somebody from the school system, either the board or the administration.
But I think it's telling, I think to your point, it's telling that a resident came in here and reported 4 or 5 bus numbers, and one of those bus numbers resulted in, whatever action they've taken against the driver who was greatly exceeding the speed limit. So I can't disagree that it's broken. I can only say what data were being shown.
Yeah, I don't believe that they're tracking GPS every day.
Well, obviously, I think you kind of have case in point there, yeah.
The question is if they are tracking it every day, why is it being addressed before we bring it to their...
That's what I just said, exactly. Yeah. Right.
I think these are all great questions that we would love for you to ask them.
Yes.
So we are happy to facilitate that conversation, but we can't answer it. Right. So let's get them here and have that conversation. Thank you, Susan.
Exactly.
We also had a sergeant stop by the bus garage, and we told them there's going to be 0 tolerance on their buses speeding, so we gave them fair warning. So if they're caught, I mean, that's on them. So we did go to an extra step and let them know that we're tired of the complaints, so.
And I have heard feedback since then, especially from Harbor, that they saw the buses slow down, so.
I'm sure they get behind schedule and they're just trying to catch back up.
Right.
Through the neighborhood, it's just not safe.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Susan?
Yes, sir. So I think it was our last regular meeting and several meetings prior to that. There was the question about would the board consider allowing public comment at special meetings. We discussed that a little bit at the last meeting as far as some ways that we might be able to change our agenda. We specifically talked about regular meetings and changing the agenda, which we have done for tonight, and allowing more public input and questions throughout the agenda. And we did allow public comment at the last meeting. However, I was asked that that be followed up on at this meeting to determine, for the time being, I guess, are we going to continue to allow question and answers at the special meeting, not necessarily through public input at a special meeting, but just general questions to come before the board, or what is the board's decision on that, or do you have one, or?
I think it's okay, as long as it's limited to 5 minutes, the same as it is, at a regular meeting. I mean, if they got questions, if you answer.
Well, and the other thing, at a special meeting, my recommendation would be that it really probably needs to be, whatever they're addressing is part of the special meeting.
Absolutely, that has to be.
If it's something other than that, then we need to know about that.
Yes.
Outside of the meeting, so that we can address it without waiting till a regular meeting. But that would be one of the limitations, just in checking around with others, that other councils and boards and stuff, that is, they do allow comments, but they ask that it be part of the topic for the evening.
And the only thing I would have is, obviously, we do our part to get the agendas out as fast as we can, so that people can, that was the other input that we have. Some, they don't always get in advance what we're going to be talking about.
And on a special meeting, we have to have the agenda out at least the 24 hours before, so.
But if we're planning a special meeting because we know something's coming up a week or two out, then my only comment is that if the quicker we can get it out, the better, just to be fair to the public.
Well, you do that now, don't you, Susan?
No, what we do is, if we're made aware that we're going to have a special meeting, we don't put anything out, to anybody other than the board to say, looks like we're going to have a special meeting around these particular dates, and these are the topics, and then as soon as we're able to lock that in, then as soon as we lock it in, then we start on the meeting notices. Now, sometimes that may be, 3 days in advance, sometimes it may be a week in advance, but until we have the actual notices ready to go with all of the information, because once it's sent to the media, we can't add anything else, unless it's in excess of the 24 hours, and then we would have to do a re-notification. So yes, we do try our best to work ahead of that schedule, but normally it's not a week or so that we're going to be ahead on a special meeting.
These people would understand. Yes, ma'am.
Bylaws don't require more than a 24-hour notice for a special meeting of the board.
They don't require us to notify the media. It has to be at least 24 hours before. For the media. But lots of times, I'll be truthful with you, we don't have all of our items lined up until about probably about 30 to 36 hours, because we've been trying not to do special meetings. Now, I know that seems like an odd statement, as many as we've had this year, but like we said before, that's mostly been to do with the station. But in a general year, we really try not to have too many special meetings, and when we do, it's usually something rather unexpected that has to be dealt with, and so they don't have a lot of advance notice about that.
And so in the bylaws, there is no clause for special meeting notice, is what I'm asking.
That's ORC, isn't it?
The ORC requires us to do a special meeting notice to the media. And then we also always post it on the door, the windows around the building. We have a list of people that have also requested that they be notified when there is a special meeting, either by email or by phone call. And what we do is, at the time we are notifying the media, that same notice or the phone call with that same information goes out to those people.
And that's also a Ohio Revised Code. It's whoever has requested notification gets
I
notified.
said the city and townships, different things to be on
Right.
the city of Columbus.
Absolutely, you was. Yes. Yes, you was, ma'am.
Can I say something, add something real quick? Yeah. Also, I asked about getting an agenda on the meetings, and I did get one mailed out yesterday, but Donna did say it was a draft and it could change from time to time.
Okay.
That was addressed, thank you.
Oh, sure.
You're welcome. You're welcome, sir. Okay. Right down with that, yeah. New business.
New business? Just a couple minor FYIs for new business. Received from the Franklin County Public Health Department information that they are going to go ahead and ask to extend for a second year the same contract that we've had in effect. However, for 2018, they are going to leave the prices the same. What's going on is they really feel that they need to make some changes in the contract, but they haven't been able to develop the RFP in time to get it out, get it back, and then offer a brand-new contract. So they notified us earlier this week that they would be sending us a resolution in the next month or so that we will need to address, that will just extend the contract for a year. And we did that last year, although there was a little bit of an increase last year. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that.
Contract for what?
Mosquitoes, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm sorry. So we'll have that. And then the other component, as you're aware, we use the Board of Health for various things, one of which is properties that are blighted and items that either we don't feel that we can't have enough teeth in, I guess, to get the property owner to clean up their property, or we've tried and the property owner is not complying with us, and it doesn't fall, sometimes it falls under the county zoning piece and sometimes it doesn't. Well, the health department, in looking at everything that they're doing, has decided that they are going to narrow their focus on complaints that have a public health significance. They are asking us to try to send more items to the county, which would include, which we already do the in-ops, but any of the blighted areas or the nuisance property maintenance. And they are going to try to focus on, we're not really sure, they've said they're going to try to focus on other things, but then they're telling us that they want us to deal with more of the issues that we have. So we're going to dig down a little bit deeper on this, but there has been some delays with things we send to the health department already. We go through this every couple of years. Things improve and then they slow down a little bit. So I wanted to make the board aware that since apparently this is something that's been a public health board decision, they are sharing that with us. We'll investigate it a little bit more, but in case you start hearing anything about the changes in the public health, I wanted you to be aware of that. Okay. The next item is the Ohio Election Commission, which, as you know, we've had a couple complaints regarding potential candidates early on this season, that some of their signage was not accurate and up to par, and it depicted potentially that the person was working for Madison Township. We've had other issues and other complaints over the years, and we've tried to deal with it the best we can. However, when the sign issue came up, we have an avenue to deal with that if we want to through the Ohio Elections Commission, and it basically, the local election board doesn't, they will take complaints, but they don't act on the complaints. They send everything to the Ohio Elections Commission. So when I called them about it, they suggested that the board or individuals or whoever had an issue with things needs to file with the Ohio Elections Commission. I did not do that because I did not have the direction of the board to do that. However, there's been a lot of conversation with, is that something that the board wants to have done? Do we want to file? And also in taking the issue of people misrepresenting themselves as being associated with the township or a township employee, and do we want to take that and take to the prosecutor or to do anything else with that? So we're open for discussion on what direction the board would like to go on either issue.
Does it cost anything either way? Either the Ohio election.
No, it does not cost to file anything with the Ohio Election Commission. When they would get to it, I don't know, but it doesn't cost anything to file.
I thought there was a small filing fee, but I mean, they move
When I
very
sent that
rapidly.
information out, did you see a fee involved?
3 days.
I didn't see a fee, and the local county Board of Education didn't mention a fee.
Okay, but they move in days and weeks, not
Well, I
months.
mean, I don't really think about
The
it.
thing with the Elections Commission now is it's changed drastically. There was a challenge to the Ohio Supreme Court that it's made it now legal to lie in campaign advertising, and it's no longer the job of the Elections Commission to sort that out. Yeah, they made that legal to, there was actually a Supreme Court decision that said it's okay. It's not the Elections Commission's job to determine if you're lying or telling the truth. It's freedom of speech. A very sad case, but that's come through, so I wouldn't hold out a lot of hope in them actually taking any action over something like for or elect. And actually, there is some case history, and I forgot to bring it, but there is some recent...
It's worded.
Yeah, it's worded incorrectly, but there's some recent case history where the Elections Commission has upheld that that's not, anything egregious enough that they would take action on. So, my opinion is, I don't believe it. I believe that would not be a good use of our resources, but that's just my opinion.
Ricker? Sir?
Is the signage still out?
The last I checked, the signage was still out. Have you been up there to see on Shoreline?
I'm sorry, for where?
On Shoreline? I don't know. Do some of you know? You don't know, or it's not there? It's not out. It's not out. Okay, well, then that becomes a moot point. Okay.
Yeah, I think, so I would move on for now, but if it happens again, we should consider it.
Regarding any representation outside of that in the prosecutor's office?
Yeah, I'm for that, absolutely. Any misrepresentation of holding a position that, yeah, absolutely should be prosecuted.
I mean, we just, whoever it is, whatever,
So
just
contact
find
the
out what it
prosecutor
is.
and
Just
see.
check with the prosecutor,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Department activities, updates, resolution, and comments. Okay, that'll be Chief Bates.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I speak to a couple items on the agenda for resolutions, just want to touch base quickly on a couple of items. The crews are continuing to work on the station painting at both the stations. They're doing a really good job. There have been relatively minor number of strays, shall we say. But they're doing a really good job. It looks different. There's some different colors coming in. There are actually multiple colors at the station, and they both actually look quite a bit bigger between the new floors and the new paint colors. So we did the inspection trip for Medic 183 on Monday. We brought it back. It is at par right now, having radios installed. Then the radios will be programmed. I am in the process of putting together the directive and working with the FAO on dispatching protocols and directive for operation, staffing, those types of things. So probably in 2 weeks at the latest, I would say. I anticipate Medic 183 to be on the street and operational. I don't want to burden the alarm office by doing anything strange. I think what we're going to do is just simply we're just going to simply let AVL and GPS do what AVL and GPS does and let that dictate what trucks go and where. Obviously, if they're up there in the daytime in the Blacklick Estates area, which we've already had some conversations.
Some people don't know what that means, that
Okay.
once after it hits their radio. And all that.
So GPS is global positioning, and the AVL is the software at the dispatch center. that is an automatic vehicle locator. So they actually sit in the fire alarm office and can see where the truck is. They can actually watch the truck drive down the street. So they grab the closest appropriate truck when an emergency call comes in, which is why you see Columbus Station 32 up in the northwest corner of the township, because they're actually closer from Station 32 than we are from here, but that problem will go away here in about 6 or 7 months. So we're just going to let AVL dispatch it. It's amazing how accurate it is. We have had instances where Station 182 has stopped over here at the fuel pump for gasoline or fuel, and they have grabbed their truck for a run in Groveport, with Station 181 sitting there, and we've had the same thing happen at Station 182. 181s will be over there, they pull around the back of the station, they get grabbed for a run in downtown Canal Winchester, because that's how accurate it is. There were really no issues whatsoever with the medic beyond a couple of spots where there was some buffing compound on it. I have yet to go on the vehicle inspection trip where there isn't a little bit of buffing compound on a truck somewhere, and actually this was quite a bit better than engine 181 was. Engine 181, they had to redo the whole roof. They missed quite a bit on it. Station 183, as far as progress at the station goes, they finished the initial asphalting today. They will be back in the spring to do a top coat. They have some painting to do, and the bumpers for the parking spaces to be done. They are getting ready to, start digging footers. The building is staked out. A lot of the underground work has been done. They'll be mobilizing the electrician and plumber next week, early in the week, to start doing their underground work. The drainage around the site is done, so for those residents that live up there in the area where you see the grass and the river stone around the edge, that's what it's actually going to look like. That's the actual finished product. And the river stone sits right over where the actual drains for the lot are. So we're making good progress there. We have 2 items on the agenda tonight. The first item is to rescind and then do a new resolution for disposal of the 1990 Pierce Sabre engine. It's going to be to advertise it on the county's GovDeal website for a period of 30 days. The administrator, the fiscal officer, and I had a conference call with the folks from the county, and their GovDeal website sounds like it's the way to go. We pretty much set up an account and send in our pictures, and we'll have a username and a password for the township, and it's going to work out quite nicely, it sounds like.
So who's doing the photos and details and all that?
We've got some of the photos already taken care of. Whatever we need for additional photos, we'll get those taken care of in-house. I'll just bring in my camera or something, and we'll get those taken care of. We can load up to, I forget what he told us, some crazy number of photos that it was kind of like, yeah, we'll never take that many photos unless you document every square inch of it. So we'll take care of all that in-house, the description with all the information in-house. We just take care of that. We load it up onto the website once we have our password and our spot, and it sits there for 30 days. And it almost sounds like, what's the place online where you buy stuff from people? eBay. It almost sounds like eBay, because we did have a conversation with him about how long or short to go, and he said, really, you don't gain anything by going a longer period of time because everybody sits tight until the last day or 2 days. So, then the other item that we have for tonight is change order on Medic 183, and we sent this to the board a couple months back when we were finishing up the stuff on the build sheets with the Medic. This was the relocation of the Vista screen to the foot of the squad bench, foot switch for the Federal Q siren on the driver's side, push button for the Q on the passenger side, and then relocating the inverter to an interior cabinet. So that's the change order on Medic 183. Again, that was sent a couple months back to the board, and we were finalizing that. So the monthly report's in your mailboxes today, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
The one question I have, and I may have missed it, and I'm sorry if I did, where is the new medic going to be located in general? You were going to try to keep it over in the...
In the daytime, they are going to be up in the Blacklick Estates area. We've already spoken with some folks up there who have said, yeah, they're more than welcome to
I wasn't sure if I
hang out
lost
here.
that in the GPS discussion or not. I wasn't sure.
Okay, yeah, they're gonna be up there around Bepler's, that area.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
I've laid out the guidance. I'm working on getting out that guidance and direction, get their meals accordingly. If they want to eat out, that's okay. If they want to come back down here, that's okay. Obviously, if we've got training, they need to be there for that. But, I've indicated to them that we want them up there in that area for a period of time during the days. And a number of the staff members have made the comment to me that they really don't anticipate sitting at Bepler's very long. They think that's going to be minimal amount of time, and then obviously they have to get fuel and restock and all that stuff, depending on what's involved in an incident, so.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Chief?
That's all, sir.
Thank you. Okay, next is Police Chief Ken Brady, please.
Thank you, Chairman. We do have one chair we put in surplus, and we did get the new furniture that we had ordered for things that have eventually went by the wayside through the years. This chair was one of the original ones from 1995, so it did its service.
Yeah, good service. Yeah. Next, please, be Public Works. Dave Watkins, please.
Yeah, we'd like to rescind a resolution to finance the Dare Patcher with Lori's hard work. We got through that, and plus Susan. Plus I have declare some surplus items. I have a pickup truck from Park and Rec, so I'd like to declare surplus. A 1-ton dump truck from the road department. And we have a mower that's been sitting over at the park for a couple of years that hasn't been used, so we'd like to declare all the surplus and put them on the Gov Deals site for the 30 days.
Same site Chief is?
Same site, yes. Yes. And eliminating those two vehicles will save us probably about $1,500 in insurance each year too. So they weren't used very much, and they were going to have maintenance issues with them, so.
Set aside open to the public too?
Yes. Yes. GovDeals.com.
You need a truck?
It's GovDeals. I bought many things from GovDeals.
Yeah, first that. Yes, sir.
How about a fire truck? You need a fire truck?
That's why I buy all the highway patrol cars from.
Okay, yeah.
How about a 1995 Pierce fire truck? You need one of those?
Okay, thank you. Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Mrs. Brooks, please, Administrator.
I have a couple, well, there's a SWACO resolution on for action that Kyle was here last month to talk to you about the master plan. That needs to be voted on preferably tonight, but no later than the end of October. I didn't receive any additional questions from anyone, so I assume that whether or not you want to vote for or against it, but at least you understand what's going on with that. In addition, I wanted to report that we had the tire drive this past Saturday, and I'll pass around a couple of pictures for you from the drive. But this year, in 3.5 hours, we did close early because the bin was full. We collected 220 tires. Last year, we collected 200 tires over the 4-hour period. And then in 2015, Actually, in 3 hours, we collected 295 tires. That year, we did have a little bit bigger dumpster, is why the additional tires versus what we had this year. We had people waiting there for us at 7:30 when we arrived, even though the official time was not 8 o'clock. We took them right away so they could move on. Had a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, we've had several people request maybe looking at doing it twice a year. We'll look at that within the budget and talk to them. Well, right now, that's the biggest dumpster we can get based on the program. But we can talk to them about that. So we will, as soon as everything is paid for, we will turn in for a $500 reimbursement through the public health grant. With that in mind, I anticipate the tire drive without any staff hours, just a true expense, cost us between $450 and $500 in addition to the grant. So over and above what we'll get back in the grant, yes. And then Scott Belcastro just let me know that I am going to need another resolution. It's fairly simple, I can read it to you, but if you will allow me to get copies, I'll have it for you after the meeting, or after executive session. But basically, it just authorizes the administrator to request and sign for a customer eligibility list, and then sign and any other documents associated with the gas aggregation. That's standard for what we've done with the electric. He just did not think about getting that to me when we talked about the other resolution that was going to be needed. So I'll have that at either point in time, whatever you want to do. And then, do you have any other questions for me?
You done?
I'm done.
Okay, next would be fiscal officer, Lori Vermeer, please.
We have minutes on the agenda to approve, and we have the annual resolution to accept the amounts and rates that have to be certified to the county to collect the tax on behalf of the township. And the ending cash balance as of today is $13,217,939.61.
Lori, are we, because I see this goes back to April, are we all three able to vote on all four?
You cannot do April. You were not there, and that one failed the last meeting, because John hadn't read it yet.
Okay, but then 19th, 21st, 26th, we were all three at those?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, thank you.
That's it.
Okay, thank you. It's your turn, sir.
I move to accept the minutes of the regular April 19th, 2017 meeting as presented.
A second. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gildan?
Yes.
Trustee Piney?
Abstain.
Trustee Kirschner?
Yes.
Move to accept the minutes of the special June 19th, 2017 meeting as presented.
Got a second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gildan?
Yes.
Trustee Piney?
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner?
Yes.
Move to accept the minutes of the regular June 21st, 2017 meeting as presented.
Got a second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gildan?
Yes.
Trustee Piney?
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner?
Yes.
Move to accept the minutes of the special June 26th, 2017 meeting as presented.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gildan?
Yes.
Trustee Piney?
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner?
Yes.
Move to rescind resolution number 203-17.
Second.
Got a second? Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gildan?
Yes.
Trustee Piney?
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner?
Yes.
Move to authorize the administrator to list the 1995 Sutphen Fire Engine VIN 3027 through the Franklin County Purchasing Auction Site for 30 days for a minimum bid of $10,500.
Got a second?
Second.
No, hold on.
Excuse me.
Time out. That should be, I'm sorry, that should be a 1995 Pierce.
That's what I thought.
Pierce, yes. Pierce Saber.
Yes.
I'll amend my motion to change it to Pierce from Sutphen.
Go ahead.
VIN 3027. Is the VIN correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we just got to reread that? Is that what it is?
We're scratching out Sutphen and changing it to Pierce
Right,
Saber.
we did that.
Saber.
So we're okay with that resolution? Just
I don't
changing
believe,
it up
did you
there?
receive a second?
No, no
Maybe you
second.
did. Oh, I didn't hear that.
Did you second it, John? I don't think
John
so,
did,
because
didn't
all I heard was him hollering.
I thought so, but...
I thought he did too.
Then we can go through and vote it down and reread it.
All right.
Okay, go through it, we'll vote it down, buddy. Go ahead, sir.
I don't call the roll.
Trustee Dildine.
Okay, you're right, okay, sorry.
Trustee Dildine.
No.
Trustee Pine.
No.
Trustee Kirschner.
No.
I move to authorize the administrator to list the 1995 Pierce fire engine VIN number 3027 through the Franklin County purchasing auction site for 30 days for a minimum bid of $10,500.
No second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Dildine.
Yes.
Trustee Pine.
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner.
Yes.
Move to authorize the fire chief to sign change order number 1 for the additional cost of $958 for changes to the 2016 Freightliner Medic for Station 183, or Medic 183, per Exhibit Fire 2016 Medic 183, #1CO.
Yep. Is that second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Dildine.
Yes.
Trustee Pine.
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner.
Yes.
Thanks for making that exhibit easy to read. Move to declare the Public Works list dated September 20th, 2017 as surplus and dispose of the 1998 Chevrolet 3500 dump truck with a minimum bid of $2,000 through the Franklin County purchasing auction site for 30 days per Exhibit PWPR 092017.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Dildine.
Yes.
Trustee Pine.
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner.
Yes.
Move to declare the Parks and Rec list dated September 20th, 2017 as surplus and dispose of the 2004 Chevrolet 2500 HD pickup with snowplow with a minimum bid of $2,000 and a Kubota mower model F2260 with a 60-inch deck with a minimum bid of $1,000 through the Franklin County purchasing auction site for 30 days per Exhibit PWPR 092017.
Second?
Second.
Discussion?
So where did we come up with the minimums for the front cut, Kubota front cut, and et cetera? And what's the condition of the Kubota front cut mower?
It's in decent shape, but it's not quite showing the year. It was built in either from 99 to 2005.
Okay.
It's 2,600 hours on it.
Do you think that's an adequate minimum bid?
I searched, you don't see them for sale very often.
Yeah, they're kind of rare, but,
So it's,
okay. Well, it's a big monster diesel mower, so that seems a little low to me, but I guess it can start there, right?
It's an auction.
Right. No, I understand,
Yeah.
I understand. But hate to give it away. That's my only question.
So I got your second.
You already did.
Discussion? You already discussed?
Trustee
Call the roll,
Dildine.
please.
Trustee Dillon. Trustee Pine.
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner.
Yes.
Move to rescind resolution number 205-17, which allowed for the financing of the Knox County Durapatcher.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Dildine.
Yes.
Trustee Pine.
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner.
Yes.
Move to declare the police department list dated September 20th, 2017 as surplus and dispose of office chairs.
For a second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Dildine.
Yes.
Trustee Pine.
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner.
Yes.
Move to authorize the administrator to sign a 24-month contract for gas aggregation with Volunteer beginning 12/1/2017 as recommended by the review committee.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Dildine.
Yes.
Trustee Pine.
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner.
What was the date today?
12/1/17.
12/1, thank you.
Did he vote? You voted?
Yeah, I voted and then I asked a question, sorry.
Gotcha, okay. Sorry.
I didn't hear the date, that was all, sorry.
Move to approve the Solid Waste Authority of Central Ohio Solid Waste Management Plan for ratification by Madison Township and have the fiscal officer provide a certified copy of this resolution to SWACO showing this resolution was adopted in an open meeting.
Second?
Second.
Discussion?
Ms. Victor, you have I think you can explain this better than anybody else. The $7 waste fee, I don't know that I felt really great, or the $7 fee that they continued on in this plan. You had some feelings about that, or am I confused?
I don't recall that.
Okay, well, they were continuing, it was supposed to be a temporary measure, and then they're spending the full amount. They're not rolling back as their costs decrease, so they're spending forward money that we anticipated and we thought would roll off of the program, is the way I recalled it. And at the time, I think you spoke pretty well to that, but sorry to put you on the spot there. Never mind. I am not for it because I don't like the amount of the increase they're carrying forward, or the fact that they kind of strong-armed Canal Winchester into what they did. So that's my feedback.
Sure. So you can call the roll.
Trustee Gilbane?
Yes.
Trustee Pine?
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner?
No.
Move to accept the list of items for personnel files to be placed in the appropriate files.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gilbane?
Yes.
Trustee Pine?
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner?
Yes.
Move to accept the amounts and rates determined by the Budget Commission for 2018 and authorize necessary tax levies and certify them to the Franklin County Auditor as in extended resolution.
A second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gilbane?
Yes.
Trustee Pine?
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner?
Yes.
Move to pay bills, sign all purchase orders, and approve the list of supplemental appropriations, super blanket certificates, and interfund transfers.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gilbane?
Yes.
Trustee Pine?
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner?
Yes.
Move to accept the bank reconciliations and reports of the fiscal officer as the cash journal and bank balances agreed through July 2017, showing a balance of $7,069,344.01.
Yes, second.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gilbane?
Yes.
Trustee Pine?
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner?
Yes.
Move to approve the list of 11 mowing and trash removal assessments totaling $2,325.
Yes, second.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gilbane?
Yes.
Trustee Pine?
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner?
Yes.
Move to approve Public Works and Police executive session for the following purposes: considering the compensation of a public employee or official, considering the dismissal of a public employee or official, considering the hiring of a public employee or official.
Yes, second.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gilbane?
Yes.
Trustee Pine?
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner?
Yes.
I move to recess for 5 minutes and resume an executive session at 7:51.
You have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gilbane?
Yes.
Trustee Pine?
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner?
Yes.
It's good.
Okay.
We ready? Tape rolling?
It's on.
Okey dokey. I move to close executive session and resume the meeting in open session at 8:21, noting that no action was taken during executive session.
You have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gilbane?
Yes.
Trustee Pine?
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner?
Yes.
I move to authorize the administrator to request and sign an eligible customer list and other documents associated with the gas aggregation program.
You have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gilbane?
Yes.
Trustee Pine?
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner?
Yes.
I move to reclass Douglas Daniel from Public Works seasonal employee to part-time Parks and Rec employee beginning September 9th, 2017, at a pay rate of $13 per hour for a minimum of 2 hours each day officially scheduled to work. This position will not exceed 129 hours in a calendar month and is not eligible for employer insurance, health care, vision, dental, and life, or vacation, sick pay, or sick or holiday pay. Further, the status will not change unless the board takes official action and informs the employee otherwise.
A second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gilbane?
Yes.
Trustee Pine?
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner?
Abstain.
I move to adjourn at 8:22, noting there is no further business.
A second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gilbane?
Yes.
Trustee Pine?
Yes.
Trustee Kirschner?
Yes.
What was it, 8:22?
Yes. Oh, no, 8:22, sorry. I wrote down 3 months.
I didn't know either, told, and I don't see who gave it to me. I'll get it.